はようございます。ちょっと曇ってますね。小雨かな。今9時ぐらいですけどね。ではホテルをチェックアウトして荷物を預かってもらいました。で今日の夜6時に洗濯物ができるので、それを取ってからホテルに戻って、で洗濯物詰めて荷物を取って夜行バスに乗っていきたいと思いますけど、ではね、今から朝食を食べに行きたいと思います。はい、ではね、こちらの店が評判が良かったので、こちらで朝食を取ろうと思います。はい、ここはねすごい人気店みたいです。人がいっぱいで、今、豚肉のバーガーみたいなやつと、バナナジュースですね、コンレチェを頼みました。座るとこはないんでね、ここでちょっと食べましょう。はい、ではいただきます。はい、ではね、今こちらでちょっと椅子が空いたので座って食べてましたけど、まあまあかな。豚肉の砕いたやつと野菜が入ったサンドイッチですね。はい、バナナジュースは美味しかったですね。はい、まあ普通かな。まあ普通よりは美味しいけどね。はい、では今から月のワカにコンビっていうバスみたいなやつがあるみたいな、それを探しに行きましょう。ちょっとチャレンジしてみましょう。なんとすぐ見つかりましてね、ワカって言ったらすぐこれだということで乗り込みました。では今から月のワカに行きたいと思います。はい、来ました。月のワカですけど、こちらで降ろされました。こっちでチケットを買うみたいですね。Buenas tardes. Can I buy a ticket?
De frente, amigo.
チケットはどうやら向こうで買うみたいですけど、なんか土産物屋みたいなところもありますけど、あんまり空いてないですね。人も少ないですね。ミュゼオワカデモチェ、はい、こちらでチケットを買うみたいですけど、はい、なんかね、交代制みたいな入場の制限があるみたいで、今から30分ぐらいで博物館を見て、で11時15分にワカに向かって、月のワカを見学するという感じになるみたいですね。Google 翻訳でなんとかね分かりましたけどね。今が10時半なので11時ぐらいまで博物館を見学したいと思います。博物館がね5ソレスで、月のワカが10ソレスで、全部で15ソレスですね。はい、ということで、まずは博物館を見たいと思います。こうかな。はい、博物館見終わりまして、中はね撮影禁止だったのでね残念ですけども、こちらには土産物屋みたいなのがありますね。はい、では今11時ぐらいなんで、そろそろ、あっちの月のワカに向かいましょうかね。11時15分からのツアーに参加するみたいなことを言ってましたけどね。では向かいましょう。こちらの中にはね、壺ですね、壺、水差しみたいなやつがいっぱい展示してありましたね。あと生贄の犠牲者の骨とかね、あと使ったナイフとかね、そういうものが展示されてましたね。ほとんどはね水差しみたいなやつですね。はい、では向かいましょうかね。はい、博物館出まして、あっちに見えるのはね月のワカだと思いますので行ってみたいと思いますけど、なんもないとこですね。多分歩いて10分かからんかな。はい、着きましたけどね。あっちにトイレがありますけど、エントラーダ、ここが入り口か。 歩いて5分ぐらいだったのでね、ちょっと早いんですけど入れるんですかね。はい、今チケット見せたんですけども、どうやらツアーでしか見れないみたいな感じですね。で11時15分のツアーなので、あと10分ぐらいここで待っていてくださいということで、ガイドにはチップをいくらか渡してくださいっていうことみたいですね。10ソルですからね、入場料がねいくら渡せばいいんかな。はい、まあ1ドルぐらいですかね。まあちょっと考えましょう。ここで待って。はい、はい、ガイドツアー始まりましたけど3人ですね。はい、最初のポイントですかね。
This is the Moche Valley, and there are two temples, the moon and the sun. In the moon temple, the archaeologists advanced 60%. It was because there were sponsors. No? The archaeologists started the excavations in 1991. The first sponsors gave money was the Ford company, the cars company, the first 4 years. The French authorities and the World Monuments Fund. But about 10 years ago, all of them gone, not much money, and stopped excavation. So these temples are about 2,000 years ago because belongs to the Moche or Mochica culture, developed from 100 to 800 after Christ and occupied part the north coast of Peru. 5%, only the 5%. It's not enough. The walls are completely originals. During the excavations here, the archaeologists found potteries, molds from potteries, and the tombs. The idea is this is the house belongs to the handicraft people. You know, these archaeological sites were very destroyed. First, during the colonial times. The archaeologists decided to call the patio of the snakes. We are here, and along that wall, the moche is depicting 33 snakes, like a spiral. Means the river, the water, and the fertility. The hypothesis is the building are close the temple only could used by the elite people. Maybe here they used to carry out some important religious ceremonies, but you remember they used to bury it in these places too. In total, for example, the archaeologists found 55 tombs, and you see there the sample how the moches bar with these kind of people. The temple is like a pyramid, but only north face is very decorated and colorful. Here, the archaeologists calculate the moches built five floors, and the other one 11 floors. The names Sun and Moon are not from Moche society. Nobody knows about the real names. So maybe the Sun temple they use like a political center, and the Moon was religious center. The population was about 20,000 people. this is another patio. This is wrong. Is the sea god. So the archaeologists decided to call the decapitator because nobody knows about the real name. Long time ago, Rafael Larco in 1940 gave a name, Ayapaek, but not sure from where he knew that name. So this is the reason why the archaeologists now decided to give different names. No? So on the wall, there are maybe ocean's waves, sea bird, and the catfish. In the corner, this patio, the Moches built this enclosure. And in here, you see the visual reconstructions. Maybe was like this. In that wall, so long time and collapse, but there, the Moches depicting this god, the sea god. Why the decapitator? Because you see, hold ritual knife and the other hand the head. But the sea god, maybe because are fins. Now you can see just a little bit this on top there in the corner. Another depicting is like a cat, you see. The archaeologists thought the Moches depicting this kind of cat or like a feline, but if not sure, you see there. And in here, during the excavations, the archaeologists found this pot. It maybe means a very important person and hold in his arm this kind of cat. Maybe the Moches domesticated this cat. And each time the Moches remodel the painting. Imagine, if you take off this painting, before the Moches depicting like a zoomorpho and the face of the god. After a long time, not sure exactly how long, they plastered and painting on top the new figure. So it's very complicated to see all of this, but only you see just a little bit this on the first there. You see? In the corner, over there. In the corner, the red. And this is the ceremonial square. It's about 10,000 square meters and where the Moche population met. The temple was built by 5 families, so of 5 generations. Each generation's government and around 100 years. After 100 years, the new generations built the new one on top. So the archaeologists explain. For example, this is the first floor and the face has layers. After 100 years, the new generation's government. What happened with this? First, they fill up completely with the adobe mud bricks, and before to build the next one on top, they extend it outside. So what happened when they did it? They cover the faces too. So now that face you see there belongs to the last generations. If we want to see the fourth face, it's very necessary to take off all of these because are inside. In each one, in each layer belongs to the feet. The Moche is depicting different details. On the first, There are guys who are naked and they had a rope around their necks, and the other guys holding weapons on the shoulder. On the second, the dancers. They are holding hands. On the third, this is the face of this god, and the archaeologists decided to call the spider god. But on the wall, the mochi is depicting with the human hands, and one of them hold ritual knife, and the other hand the head. On the fourth, the fisherman. On the fifth, it's very complicated to know why the mochi is depicting this kind of mythical beings, but it has related with this ritual, the human sacrifices. On the sixth, it's a snake. You remember means the river, the water, and the fertility. On top, only you see the white color, not because the figure, the color from the figure disappear. Now, but there the mochi is depicting the full body of this god. And now you see this is the reason why the archaeologists decided to call decapitator. And so through that, the archaeologists could see these layers belongs to the fourth, and more inside, the other layers belongs to the third. Nobody knows about the first and the second. It's very complicated to know about that. It's more inside. So if the archaeologist continues the excavations, this part collapses. And there is that enclosure. Maybe it was used by the priest as a dressing room and where he prepared before to carry out the ceremonies. And the wall has a lot of figures. Square. During the excavations, the archaeologists found 127 human skeletons. Belongs to the younger people between age from 18 to 35 years old. The mochis carry out the human sacrifices during the natural disaster. The archaeologists calculate it happened each 30 years, not always. And they thought the decapitator god was very angry with them, so they did it to stop it, rein and calm the furies of this god. And according to the studies by the archaeologists that describe the painting from potteries, they choose their own people, not the enemies. And these guys belong to the high class, so they choose the Moche warriors. There was ritual battle. So the Moches warriors fighting against each other. No here, very far away. And if one of them to lost the headdress during these confrontations, consider the victims to be sacrificed. So you remember on the first layer, the guys holding weapons, this is the winner. And the other guys naked and they had a rope around their necks, consider the victims to be sacrificed. So before the sacrifice them, they were prepared and purified the bodies. So, and there are enclosures, and then we can see the enclosures. Maybe these guys stayed there about 3 weeks. During that time, the lady priest gave them hallucinogenic drink from San Pedro cactus. Now she gave them it to relieve the pain, and then they were decapitated and the bodies threw and around the rocks. And then you see the rocks. No? The blood was received in the sacred cup. This is just a visual reconstruction. No? And the lady priest gave it to the priest. So the altar is located in the corner. Now, the population, you remember, only could stand in the ceremonial square. The population only could see when the lady priest gave it to the priest. You remember, before we were outside, no, here, to see only the face, but inside there are these colors, this painting. Now outside there is a replica, and where you see now the face of this god. This is the decapitator. Maybe, you know, it was a mask the priest wore on the face during the ceremonies. You see, nobody live here, only used to carry out the ceremony. So it's not necessary to put a cover in that time. All the temple only has a short roof. In the corner, now located in the southeast, the Moches built the enclosures only to keep offerings like metals, textiles, and potteries. Any question?
Was it only possible for men to be warriors?
Yeah,
or?
only men.
Only
Men. So the Moche sacrifice kids, ladies, animals when the leader or the priest die. But in this case, only men. Prepare before to be sacrificed. And around the rocks during the excavation, the archaeologists found 127 skeletons, no? In different layers sand. Over there. You remember, no buried them, they left there. Yeah. The vultures eat the bodies. Maybe only this is the hypothesis. The vultures means the messengers between the sacrifices and their God. And here you see the visual reconstruction about the sacrificial square. This is a real picture, and that pot means that mountain, the white mountain means the protector God. And these pots means the guys to be sacrificed. The archaeologists found inside that enclosures, and this is the reason why they thought they were prepared before to sacrifice them. Replica, very exactly the real size too. And this is the face of this god. Native means the river ends, or goes to the ocean. See, snake ends in the, manta ray, the big fish, okay? And the archaeologists describe it has the owl eyes, means the earth. Maybe jaguar or puma fangs means the earth. And around the head, like oceans, waves, or like octopus means the water. So the Moches worship the three elements very important for the human beings. Not the sun and the moon, you remember, it's not the real name. Now you have to go on the tour and you see now what is the reason. So,
はい、終了しましたけどね、説明はよく分かりません。ゆっくり話してくれてましたけど、説明はあまり分かりませんでしたけど、まあ儀式の場ですからね、ここはね、儀式の話をずっとしてたんだと思いますけど、あっちに見えるのはね、太陽の和歌です。あれはね、中には入れないんで外からしか見れないみたいですけど、はい、ではね、見終わりまして、ちょっと太陽の和歌の前まで行ってみようかなと思うんですけどね、歩いて20分ぐらいかな。ちょっと行ってみますかね。はい、見えてきましたね。これが太陽の和歌ですね。外からしか見えませんけどね。今ちょうど横をね、帰るコンビが通ったんですけどね、また通りますかね。はい、巨大ですね。ほい、横のサイドに来ましたけど、はい、一応あちらにね、入り口らしきものがあるんですけど入れないのでね、外から見るだけということで、はい、ではさっきの交差点のとこまで戻りましょうかね。はい、こちら太陽の和歌、ちょうど交差点まで来たのでね、こちらでコンビを来るかどうかさっき通ったとこなんでね、だいぶ待たないといけないかな。はい、では待ちますかね。はい、ウーバーをね依頼してたらなかなかねマッチングしなかったので、そうこうしてるうちにコンビが通りかかったので乗りましたね。10分ぐらいかな、10分ぐらい待ったら来ましたね。ではトリヒーヨの市内まで戻りたいと思います。そこからドラゴンの和歌にウーバーで行こうかなと思っています。はい、こちらのコンビに乗ってトルヒーヨの街中まで来ましたけど、なんか市場ですね。これはね、いろんなものがいっぱい売ってますけど、ではそんなにお腹も空いてないのでさっさと観光に行きますかね。ではここからはちょっとウーバーを使ってドラゴンの和歌に行きたいと思います。ちょっとここはね道が混んでるみたいな感じなんで、ちょっと出ましょうかね。
まだ見る夢の続きを